In 1939, in the midst of the Great Depression, George Danzig was a graduate student studying statistics at UC Berkeley. When the day arrived for his final exam, Danzig was so engrossed with studying that he arrived 10 minutes late for class. He quickly grabbed a copy of the exam from the professor's desk and took his seat. He then noticed 2 additional problems on the blackboard. Assuming they were for extra credit, he copied the problems down and began the exam. When the class ended, Danzig was still struggling with the 2 problems on the blackboard. Desperate to ace the exam, he asked his professor for additional time. His professor said, "Sure, George, but you only have until Friday at 4 p.m., no later." Danzig went home and continued to struggle with the 2 problems. George Danzig didn't see himself as being any smarter than the other students, and he was certainly no Einstein, as he later said himself. But he figured he was at least as smart as the other students, and he knew that some of them would solve these 2 extra credit problems. In the midst of the Great Depression, he was also painfully familiar with the sight of bread lines around the city, and he feared that a poor grade on the final exam might hurt his chances of getting a job. So he kept at it all week, day and night, until he finally solved one of the problems, and then the other. On Friday afternoon, he left his exam with the professor's assistant. On Saturday morning, George heard a loud banging on his door. It was his professor. Looking alarmed, George said to him, "Professor Neiman, George, you came late to the final exam on Monday." "Yes, I'm sorry, I got carried away studying for the exam." "No, George, it's not that. You missed what I said to the class before you arrived." "Yes, I'm really sorry." "No, George, the 2 problems on the blackboard, they were not part of the exam. They were not extra credit." "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize." "No, George, listen. Before you arrived, I said to the students, I've enjoyed teaching you. Now, if you want to keep playing with mathematics for the rest of your lives, play with these unsolved problems." "George, even Einstein couldn't solve these 2 problems." "George, you solved them. You solved 2 of the unsolvable problems in statistics. George, you made mathematics history. And George, I'm here to offer you a job as an assistant professor at Berkeley." Now, what role did expectation play in this episode? Danzig himself later said in an interview, "If I'd been on time and heard the professor say even Einstein couldn't solve these problems, I wouldn't have even tried to solve them." Instead of being too intimidated to even try, Danzig expected that some of the other students would solve these problems, and he expected that he would too, and indeed he did. It was a classic example of the self-fulfilling psychological phenomenon in which your own high expectations of yourself lead to a higher level of performance. Despite the unfathomable difficulty of these math problems, George Danzig succeeded because he expected to succeed. Now, what are your expectations about your future? Follow to learn more about the power of strategy to make your dream a reality.